Hey everybody, it's Aidan here once again, and welcome back to some Assetto Corsa, as it's time for some shits and giggles in something I've been waiting to drive for some time. Now, if you live in the UK, this vehicle is synonymous with moving stuff around. Now, let's face it, if you want to clean your floor, you don't just use a vacuum cleaner, you use a hoover. If you want to jot down some notes, you don't just use a cheap plastic disposable ballpoint, you use a biro. And when you want to move up to 3.5 tons of crap from A to B, you get a Ford Transit. Now, I wasn't cool enough to get an early access of this, but from what others have said about it, it's supposed to be an absolute joy to drive. Well, I'll be the judge of that, having actually driven one of these in real life. It's not often I get to say that. So, the specifics before we get into things. This is a Mark VI Ford Transit L1H1 base model. And we know it's the base model because we've got no alloy wheels, just things that resemble dustbin lids. If you want alloys, you've got to upgrade to the trend model, and that's about another grand, I think. I can't remember that long ago. Now, I say that because this particular tranny was discontinued and replaced in 2012 with the Ford Transit Custom, which was designed to fit into the same market as the Renault Trafic, the Vauxhall Vivaro, and the Volkswagen Transporter. As a result, Transits, the big Transit, the proper Transit, now starts at L2H2, so a much bigger vehicle compared to the Custom, which is the smaller one. So Ford has a van for all occasions. So this particular example is the 135 PS 330 base model, and we're looking at a carrying capacity of almost 3.5 tons. Other models include the 270, 290, 300 and 350, and those numbers are basically the tonnage that the axles can take, depending on which one you have. Aircon though, optional extra. Yeah, I do this for a living. You know, I can do vans all day long because there's a bit of money on them in the contract hire side of things. So, as to how old this particular model is, this is a 2005, registered in 2005, as shown by the registration plate, which is EO05WJL. So it was registered in Essex, I'm assuming not far from the engine plant at Dagenham, between March and August of 2005, because after September it went to 55 plate, and then 3 random letters. So long story short, this is the tranny that Richard Hammond of Top Gear took to the Nordschleife to see if a Transit could lap faster than Jeremy Clarkson did in a diesel-powered Jag. But we don't just get this Moondust Silver one, there are others available too, so let's have a quick look before we hit the track. Let's pop my iPad down there, and we've got Moondust Silver. We've got, well, that's Postman Pat's van. That's awesome. We've got a DHL van, FedEx, UPS. That's well, it says Imperial Blue, but that's actually closer to what we call Doom Blue. Crikey, it's the Rozzers. Frozen White. The Ford Martini Rally colours. Panther Black. Race Red. It says Radiant Red, it's now called Race Red. We've got Dark Blue. There was actually a proper name. That's Blazer Blue. And then that's Deep Impact. I remember now. Pepper Red, which they don't make anymore. Sort of a dark blue. Saffron Yellow, which they don't do anymore. Medium Steel Blue, which they don't do anymore. And Jewel Green, they don't do anymore. So I thought what I'd do, I'm going to drive as the Rozzers. And apparently if you press 1, is it 1? Is it 2? One on the... One of these buttons allows me to do the Rozzer lights. No, that's the... okay. Yeah, okay. Anyway, moving inside the vehicle. Steering wheel on the correct side. Ah, yes, this is more like it. Radio 2, love it. Prefer BBC WM, but there we go. And we've got a little stopwatch so we can monitor how fast we're going around the Nordschleife, because that's all anyone's ever going to do with this, isn't it? Try and get around the Nordschleife faster than Sabine Schmitz. But it's a van. It is just a van, and it's got a tax disc as well, so that's fantastic. If you don't know what those are, that's basically, depending on the amount of emissions that your vehicle chucks out into the big wide world, you have to pay a fee to the government to cover those emissions and things like that. I mean, it's called Vehicle Excise Duty, that's the actual proper name for it, but it's more commonly known as road tax. And we discontinued the tax discs in 2014, I think it was. 2015. Might have even been 2016. I can't remember, it's that long ago. but it's all done online now, and they just check online, and you can actually get your car taken away from you if you haven't paid it. But I'm really looking forward to driving this. I've rabbled on too long, so I'll need to find a way of getting those that light bar on top of the van, because I'm going to drive this around as the Rozzers. And just as a quick side note before we actually get into the driving, I've just noticed West Midlands Police. I'm driving as the local constabulary. Awesome. Let me just look at the back. Call 101 if it's not an emergency, but call 999 if it is. And we'll just have a quick look around the model. Awesome. Right, onto track. So here we are then, just come out of the pit lane at the Torreston Farton, and here we have one of West Midlands Police's finest Ford Transits to rag around the Nurburgring. So let's get into the cockpit. We've got BBC Radio 2 on, so we can listen to some Simon Mayo on the way home. We've got about a quarter of a tank, that should be enough to get around. And apparently you've got to shift either at or before 3,500 revs, because TDCI engine, it does absolute fuck all after that. So, right then, let's get on with it. So to be honest, it's just like the real TDCI engines. Get that turbo nicely spooled up. Keep the revs up and all that good stuff. So we finally get 6th gear. We're doing about 80 miles an hour. She's going to struggle up these hills. Let's see what's actually on the radio, shall we?
Overpaid wanker.
Oh, Chris Evans is doing drive time again, is he? Took it a bit too far up the old rev range there. Scream of tyres, go away Twitter. Yeah, it's definitely the sweet spot in this engine. Problem is with some of these street cars, or street vans in this case, you're between gears a lot of the time. Like there, you sort of need a 3.5. Coming through to Flugplatz. 6th gear. Just trying to keep the revs up, to be honest. Oh, flat out. Yes. Unleash my inner Clarkson. Except it was Sabine Schmidt, so maybe a Ferrari Man 601 can drive one of the new Corvettes from RSS or whatever in front of me, so I can get some sweet slipstream action. Come on! Schnell, schnell, schnell! Bit of a confidence lift there. Oh, feel the ABS kick in into this downhill right-hander. I've got the blues on, as you probably saw in the establishing shot. Pity we don't have any twos to go to accompany the blues, because that would scare the shit out of people on a track day, wouldn't it? Crikey, it is the Rozzers! If you're wondering why I'm not popping it into second and trying to get the torque, if you whack it into second, it spins the rear tyres up and it's not pretty. Oh, really took it too far then. There we go, got some torque back now. Yeah, that turbo's liking it a bit better. I suppose that was probably the wrong thing to say. Scheiße ist Polizei! My German is severely limited to Rammstein lyrics. Could you imagine if, like, Amazon delivered your parcel after taking it around the Nordschleife at full tilt? Why is my parcel broken? You live on the Nordschleife. I'm really ignoring that 3,500 rev self-imposed limit, aren't I? Love that corner. Such a challenge. I don't know. This is probably the only place I could really drive this car. Well, I say car. Van. I was going to take it to Bathurst, but everybody was probably expecting it to be here, so... As one commenter noted, am I under the weather driving at the Nordschleife? Yeah, I come back here every so often, just to see if I enjoy it. I mean, it's okay, I don't see the hype myself, but... What's the point in testing cars at the Nurburgring? They're just going to be crap on the road. Because you've tuned them for the Nurburgring. James May's already been over this, and Chris Harris recently said the same thing. It's too, what's the word? It's just been... It's been done to death now. It's lost that magic because everything's just Nurburgring. I don't see it myself. Do you know what? I don't think we're going to get around faster than Speed Schmitz. It's really struggling to get up the... Struggling to get up this hill. But from a driving standpoint, it does feel a lot like the Transit I've driven. Just got no torque up this hill, or pulling power up this hill. Now it's starting to pick up again. So we'll change gear. '88 to 91 FM, BBC Radio 2. What a lovely sunset. It's too bad I missed Popmaster with Ken Bruce. And if Sally Traffic can give me the traffic updates for the Autobahn on the way home. Driving home from Peterborough every day when I used to work up there. She was a traffic alert goddess. Her real name's not actually Sally Traffic. I'm just trying to find things to talk about because this is going on a lot longer than I was anticipating. But it is certainly a lot of fun. doesn't suffer from chronic understeer like a lot of Assetto Corsa mods. But then again, it's a fucking Transit. There's probably a secret to driving this thing. But actually, we've picked up the pace a little bit now. Probably because this part of the track's mostly downhill. Put it neatly into fourth. YouTube corner. Probably a little bit too low on the revs. Should have brought a pasty, really. And a copy of The Sun. Oh yeah, now it's going to start picking up. Very enjoyable drive, though.
88 to 91 FM, forget the tuning. BBC Radio 2.
Sounds quite accurate as well. I need to see if there is a diesel Jag that I can drive around here. I hate that section. It's my worst part of the track, I think. Into the mini carousel. Into the final corner. I don't even know what the time is. We'll find out when we get back to the pits. Changed at 4,000, probably should have done that. But coming up to the bridge. And across the line. Right, what did we do? Laps. We did 11 minutes, 0.6. Yeah! I've got to find about 48 seconds from somewhere to match Sabine. I think that's what she did, 10, 12, something like that. But if I had some prisoners in the back of this van, they're probably going to be lying in puddles of their own vomit. Third gear then. And we'll just park up here. Try not to hit the bollard. And there we go. Excellent. What a lot of fun that was. So if you want to have some fun around the Nordschleife, get onto Race Department and download this. It's absolutely brilliant. A lot of fun. I like silly things like this. It's just like I say, a lot of fun to drive. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, then hit that subscribe button. So until next time, I've been Ada Milward. Have a cracking day wherever you live in the world, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Goodbye.